Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and I've got a crafty podcast for you guys today. I am a little limited on what projects I have been working on just because it is full swing back to school season. I've been back at school for about a week now with kids, which is wonderful and I love it, but it is time consuming and I am tired after school. So the number of craft projects completed is pretty low, including like needing to switch some videos around for ones I had pre-filmed instead of the one that I wanted to come out in the next couple weeks. So I'm filming this on August 31st. I know you're seeing it a couple weeks after that, several weeks after that, just because of how I film my podcast episodes. But I can't even do words correctly. So as of today, the day I'm filming this, August 31st, I was supposed to have a video come out today, and originally it was going to be a pair of Taylor Swift socks, but they're not done yet. So I had to swap it for one of my Ren Fair videos. I was originally going to try to space out my Ren Fair vlogs, and that didn't happen. So everything feels a little bit chaotic today, but that's okay. I do have lots of projects I've been working on. I just haven't gotten very far on any of them because I'm definitely having project indecisiveness. But before we get into that, I do want to do a yarn haul for you because I have stuff right behind me where you can see it. So I had the opportunity to go to Cream City Yarn, which is a local yarn store kind of close-ish to me. They had a special event going on. It was part of a yarn crawl, and I apologize, I don't know what the yarn crawl was called or what stores were participating. I just knew that this one was, and so I decided to go. They had a couple of visiting yarn dyers, and that was one of the most exciting things. I was like, oh, I'll go and check out the new yarn. I was not intending to purchase as much as I did, but I also realized I couldn't go to sheep and wool this year, so it kind of felt like a replacement sheep and wool, which I'm fine with. So I'll start with the thing I bought that was actually from Cream City, and this was in their clearance section, which is why I went for it. This is the Barocco Socks yarn in the color... Oh, it doesn't have a name. It's color 14237. But it is this lovely teal, yellow, charcoal, and like caramel color. It does have a little picture of how the socks work up. If my camera will focus on it. The label's kind of shiny. And this just looked like colors that I would like. Clearly it kind of matches my shirt. But I wear teal a lot. And I've been liking yellows and grays a lot lately too, so this just seemed like a good thing for clearance. Usually I think this is maybe 20 something dollars a skein, and it was on clearance for $14.36, so pretty good deal there. Sock yarn has definitely become the thing where I will just get a skein even if I don't know what I'm doing with it yet, which is exactly what happened with the first guest dyer, which was Knit Circus Yarns. I don't remember where they're based, and it doesn't say on here, but they were a guest dyer. They had come for the yarn crawl to do a trunk show, and they had lots of really, really pretty colors. The one that I got is on their Breathtaking BFL base, which is 100% superwash blue-faced Leicester wool? This kind of wool. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. And the color name is Midwest Nice Speckle. So the color name was what sold it for me, because that just made me laugh. But it is lots of shades of green and a few pops of neon yellow, and I'm realizing also the camel brown color and some light blue. So clearly I have a color palette that I like, but it was mostly the name of this yarn that made me laugh, and so I wanted to get it. And that will probably be a lovely pair of socks or maybe a cowl in the future. The last thing was the thing I really did not intend on purchasing, but when I heard the ladies talking about it, I decided to go for it. So the other guest dyer was Sun Valley Fibers, and they are based in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin. I have their business card here if you want to check it out. Really liked talking to, I forget what her name is, but the lady who came to do the yarn, and the first thing I saw that really caught my eye was their gradient sets. So I ended up getting this one. Again, we've got the yellows and the teals and kind of the dusty brownish tones and blues and greens. Clearly I like those colors. But this is their MCN fingering gradient, and it is 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. There's 130 yards per mini skein for a total of 780 yards. The colors, I'm going to try to do this in the right order. This is Pedal Pusher. It's looking a little bit more brown on camera, but it is a very dusty pink. Then this one is Happy Thoughts. So it's that dusty pink, some burgundy, some brown, some olive green, and some mustard. Then we have Apricot, which is a very golden mustardy yellow. Then we have Blanket Fort, more mustardy yellow with olive green, a little tiny bit of teal and some like pinkish hues in there. Then we have Calligraphy, which is a nice teal, very cool toned green. And then we have Smooth Sailing, which is some deep blues, teals, and lavender. So I saw this first, wanted to go for it, had no idea what I was going to do with it. And then I heard them talking about like, oh, are you picking up a gradient kit for the pattern? And I was like, oh, what pattern are they talking about? Of course, I forgot the name of it. I saved it in my Ravelry favorites, but they had, they were talking about a sweater pattern, and she did have a sample there. Oh, that means I actually have the name of the pattern on my phone because I took a picture of it. So let's look that up real fast. Where did it go? There it is. It's the Breathing Space sweater by Vera Valimaki. And it is made using a gradient set and 2 skeins of a main color yarn. So the owner recommended this color with this gradient to really make it pop, and this is the same base yarn as the set in the color Plum Crazy. So it's this really, really deep purple, and she was right. The gradient colors totally pop on that base. But what I liked about this sweater that they were talking about was that some of the stripes are knit diagonally instead of horizontally. So it gave a very interesting structure to the sweater. So hopefully I will actually get around to making the sweater now that I've bought the yarn for it. But either way, I think that that set was a good purchase. I really like all of the colors. I will definitely use them for something if I don't end up using it for the sweater pattern it was purchased for. So that's acquisitions for the month. My only actual finished object to show you is this little guy. So I had a friend who requested a crocheted coffee cup. So I made this for her. And I did write the pattern as I went. This was not a pattern that I used from somebody else. I just kind of made it up as I went along and wrote it down. So it will be a tutorial at some point in the future, probably not for a while. But I had a lot of fun making it. And this is just in Red Heart Super Saver, in the colors Light Raspberry and Latte, I think were the color names. I did purchase new Red Heart Super Saver for this, but you've all seen Red Heart Super Saver, you know what it is. But I love how this little coffee cup turned out. I think it'll be really cute. I will probably also make one for one of my White Elephant gift exchanges this year, because last year I made dumpster fires for White Elephant gift exchange. So I need a new crochet object for this year. Let's move on to projects. So there's a couple that you won't see. My star blanket is still not finished, but I haven't worked on it. What's the other one I realized I hadn't worked on? I haven't really worked on socks except for my current Taylor Swift socks, but since those now won't be out for a little bit, I'm not gonna show those. Well, actually, so they're now in the category of, I have technically moved them to be the video that comes out before this one, but I'm still not sure if I'm gonna finish them by then or not. So I'm not going to show them here, but if you're really curious, they might be the previous video to this. I'm currently working on my Speak Now socks. Otherwise, they will come out at some indeterminate point in the future. So just in case I haven't made that video yet, I'm not going to show them here in the podcast, but I would love your guesses as to what song I picked or what colors you think they're going to be in the description box. One of the things I've been working on, just because I love wearing these to school, is a short-sleeved, lightweight cardigan. And this is what it looks like so far. So I'm just starting that like dark teal at the bottom. It has very short sleeves. It's a granny stitch. And I'm kind of just making this one up as I go. It started as a shawl pattern from Fiber Spider for, I know it was a granny stitch shawl and it's not a triangle shawl, but I forget what he called the shaping of it. But I kind of started with that for the like shoulders and starting to build up the front and back of the cardigan, and then I eventually kind of just joined it together to make the armholes, and now I'm just working straight down. But I will be really excited when this is done because I think it'll be a cute wardrobe addition. I do really like wearing crocheted clothes to school because the kids are really, really into it, and it's been a fun way to get them to ask about fiber arts. And there's a lot of interest for it with younger kids now. I feel like even compared to a couple years ago, suddenly there's like a huge interest in crochet. And I hear more and more kids say that they're learning how to crochet, or they ask their grandma to teach them how to crochet, or they're learning from YouTube, which has been really nice to see. I do kind of hope that they don't find my videos. Not that it would be the end of the world if they did, but I'd rather them learn from someone else and not think of their teacher as a YouTuber, to like keep that line of professionalism just a little bit. But obviously if they do find it, it's no big deal. It would just be my personal preference that they don't. We'll just word it that way. But yeah, I've been liking wearing crocheted pieces to school. The other like big project that I've been working on. Oh, if you're curious about the rainbow stripe sweater, which hasn't been featured in a couple episodes, I also haven't been working on that. So don't hold your breath on that one. That one might take a little while. The big project I've been working on, actually I have to scoot over to get it, is actually featured on my TikTok very frequently. So if you don't follow me on TikTok and you want more frequent updates on this project, you can head over there. But I am knitting a scrap blanket. The way I'm constructing this is in stripes. So I started with the stripe that you're seeing on the bottom that has like the pink and red, and then the orange, purple, pink, green, and then it's more green over here. And then I knit each new stripe while picking up stitches from the last one to join them together as I go. I have never done a join as you go knit project before, but I have found this one to be really relaxing. I also kind of think that when it's done, I might take it to the library at school, because the library is in the basement and it's actually very cold in the winter. And I have a little rocking chair down there that I would love to add a touch of knit or crochet to, so putting a blanket over the back of it seemed like a perfect addition. But I have been walking around with this for a while now to work on that project, but I've been really enjoying not having to think about it and just doing random colors. I ended up making like little scrap cakes of colors so I wouldn't even have to tie them on as I went, and it's just been a very chill project to work on. The last project that I've been actively working on, I actually just started this morning, but I wanted to kind of do a test run first of making a crocheted bandana cowl before doing it with some nicer yarn. So I pulled these from my stash, which I originally got to make hats for my craft shows. I believe I was doing them on the knitting machine, but I really like this colorway with the like bright jewel tones and the variegation. I know it's from Hobby Lobby, and I know I love this yarn brand, but I don't remember what the color name is. But I have, let's pull the hook out so that I can actually show it. I have just barely started this little bandana cowl. So right now it fits like pretty close, almost like a turtleneck, which I'm not crazy about. This is why I tested first. But I also know that that might be helpful for winter. So I think when I do it on the real one, I'll make it a little bit looser, but this is fine for now for this one. But I just really love how the colors are working up. It very much reminds me of like prisms or like crystals. It's just a very cool color gradient. I really like this, and it's really soft. So even if it's not perfect, I probably will still get wear out of it. I feel like it'll be really cute with like a jean jacket and some fall colors. It's a very like fall rainbow yarn. But I'm making this with, some people call it linen stitch, some people call it moss stitch, but I feel like that kind of helps the colors like blend together even more, and makes it like a really seamless transition from stripe to stripe, even though there aren't harsh stripes because it's marled. It just kind of makes it blend even better. But I really like how this is looking so far. I think I might just have to play with the shaping a little bit. So this is definitely like an experiment project at the moment, instead of a I know what I'm doing project. Oh, I actually have one more yarn purchase to show you that I totally forgot about because it's been a while. Got to take one project out first because that's actually what I'm going to frog. We'll talk about that in a different video. I bought a bunch of Lion Brand Kobu yarn in 2 different colors. This is the lichen color, which I would have thought lichen would be more of like an olivey green. This is a very like seafoam green. And in the color taupe. And I got a sweater's quantity of both of those. However, the sweater pattern I'm looking at doesn't call for a 3-weight yarn. It calls for a 4-weight yarn. This is a 3-weight yarn. So my plan is to make the sweater out of scraps from socks. And this is why I got 2 different sweaters quantities, because I have kind of 2 categories I'm sorting my scraps into. So the first is all of my like pastels and like bright colors, which are going to go with the teal yarn. So I will double these up and make just kind of random stripes with all of my sock leftovers. You can see this is from a Taylor Swift one. This is from one of the first pairs of socks I knit. This is also from a Taylor Swift one. This is from a Taylor Swift one. There's a lot of Taylor Swift ones in here. I think these must be the Lover socks. So I'll have one that's kind of like pastels and soft colors. Then the other one with the taupe is going to be all of my like woodsy, earthy kind of colorways. But I thought it would be fun to have 2 kind of lighter weight, thinner sweaters, although I realize it'll still be in a 4-weight yarn. But because the Kobu yarn is a plant fiber yarn instead of an animal fiber yarn, that does make it feel a little bit cooler against the skin so that it won't be quite as hot and sweaty. I'm planning on making the Something Cozy sweater again, unless I find something I like better before I start those. But if you've been watching my Scrappy Sunday series on TikTok, that might be what I do when I either finish the Scrappy blanket or run out of scraps to work on the Scrappy blanket. I think that'll be the next Scrappy Sunday project. I do really want to get better about using up my scraps. I do love saving them and kind of seeing them all together, so it's really hard to throw them away. I also will have a Scrappy project for Advent this year because I saved more sock yarn scraps and put them in an old Advent calendar. So that will be coming too in December. but just got lots and lots of scrappy projects. I feel like I've been on the scrappy projects for a while now. Definitely that blanket was a process to figure out how I wanted to actually work on it. I think that there were several variations of the scrap blanket before it took that knitted stripe form, but now we're sticking with it. I can't undo that blanket again. That would be bad. So stripes it is, and then those sweaters to use up the sock yarn. But that's kind of all I've been working on. I'm hoping to maybe relax a little bit more when it comes to projects. I feel like I was really pressuring myself to finish things over the summer, and now I kind of want to just take a breather, work on things more slowly, one video at a time. That was part of why I let myself delay one of my pairs of Taylor Swift socks. It didn't feel right to be pushing myself to finish it when it's something that should be fun. So originally I wanted to do all of my Taylor Swift socks within 1 year. I kind of think maybe that's not going to happen anymore. But also when I made that plan, I didn't know that there was going to be another album coming out. I made that plan before Tortured Poets Department was released. 2, I made that plan before I knew I was going to be getting a full-time job. So both of those things kind of make it a little bit more challenging to get a pair of socks done a month, especially when it's one that has a more complicated stitch pattern. So you might see some delays in those. They might extend into next year, but we'll just have to see. That's going to be it for this podcast episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in more crafty and reading related content, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. And if you want to follow me on other social media sites, including TikTok, as I mentioned before, that information is in the description box of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.